afternoon, dear viewer. Hello and welcome to Switch Focus, your go-to bulletin for all news making headlines globally. I'm David Kagina. Now, kicking us off, Sudan's military has dissolved the government and declared a state of emergency. This is coming on a backdrop of a coup that happened earlier morning in which several members of Sudan's transitional government have been arrested in their homes. Civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and at least 4 other ministers were among those believed to be detained by unidentified soldiers shortly before the dawn today morning. Take a look. In the situation in Sudan, now a large number of demonstrators are on the streets of the capital, Khartoum, in protest against the reported military coup. There's also a statement from the chairperson of the African Union Commission on the situation in Sudan, which says, and I quote, "The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, has learned with deep dismay of the serious development of the current situation in Sudan, which has resulted, among other things, in the arrest of Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and other civilian officials. The chairperson calls for immediate resumption of consultations between civilian and the military within the framework of political declaration and the constitutional decree. The chairperson reaffirms that dialogue and consensus is the only relevant path to save the country at its democratic transition. The chairperson further calls for the release of all arrested government officials and the necessary strict respect of human rights. Now, moving on, security challenges are making day-to-day life even more difficult for many residents of the capital, Khartoum, with many Sudanese worrying about their safety as they go about their daily businesses, as Shilangetich reports. Several global leaders have responded to the ongoing situation in Sudan. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, says, and I quote, "I condemn the ongoing military coup in Sudan. Prime Minister Hamdok and all other officials must be released immediately. There must be full respect for the constitutional charter to protect the hard-won political transition. The UN will continue to stand with the people of Sudan." There's also a statement from the US Embassy in Khartoum which says, and I quote, "The US Embassy is gravely concerned by reports that the armed forces have taken action against Sudan's civilian government and condemns actions that are undermining Sudan's democratic transition." Colombia has announced that the country's most wanted drug trafficker will be extradited to the US after he was captured in a raid. Otoniel faces extradition orders from the United States, and Colombian officials say the government will work with authorities to make sure the extradition takes place. Flora Limuki with the details. And with that story right there, we are headed for a short commercial break. But before that, let me remind you or request you to send in your feedback through our SMS line 111 444 111, as well as on our social media platforms at Switch TV Kenya on Facebook and Twitter, and at Switch TV KA on Instagram, as well as Kagina on Instagram as well. I'd love you to tell me, who do you celebrate in this time and point, even as we begin the week. Welcome back, and for those joining us right now, this is Switch Focus, your go-to bulletin for all news making headlines globally. With me, David Kagina. As I had asked you earlier to send me an SMS with who you're celebrating, I see someone has quickly heeded to the call. This is Charity Mbithe to her sister. She says she celebrates Faith Mukulu. It's not just about how you sacrifice so much for many people who needed you, or how you keep pushing yourself and raising the bar high for us all. Neither is it for just how much more of a patient you are than a sister, your job and everything you do. You're a blessing to me and to all of us. I thank God so much for you. God has so much in store for you. You are my hero. Thank you, Charity, for sending your feedback. Now, moving on with news. A powerful storm has drenched wildfires scarred northern California, triggering mudslides and flooding, while heavy winds toppled utility poles and down trees in what meteorologists called it a bomb cyclone. Najma Noor with more. Turkey is yet to have its biggest ever diplomatic crisis for declaring ambassadors of 10 Western countries as persona non grata. Thank you, Daniel. As the pandemic continues to rage across the United States, with more than 45.44 million COVID-19 cases recorded as of Sunday, fresh report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics revealed over 530,000 healthcare workers quitted their jobs in August, the highest record since the outbreak in February last year. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud has declared that his country's commitment to reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2060. The Crown Prince made the statement at the annual Saudi Green Initiative Forum in the capital, Riyadh. He announced that the Saudi government will work to improve the country's energy consumption mix, energy production efficiency, and investment in new energy, as Emmanuel Terrell reports. That story right there brings us to the end of our bulletin, but before leaving, I'll sample one more of your feedback. This one is from Kevin Jema. He says he celebrates the mother. He says, and I quote, "Your strength, resilience, and determination to make things work out for us as a family has left me in awe, especially now that I am old enough to see some of the sacrifices you make. You have taught me to know and trust God, to be a giver and still pushing to be a better son, brother, and mom." There goes the SMS. Thank you to everyone who's made this bulletin a success. My producer has been Sheila Ngetich, and I'm David Kagina. Till next time.